So that pipe in the far end there is the one that we couldn't show you guys last time. It's deep dark cavern. Wow.
Not supposed to be that much in there.
The pipes are a lot easier to do with the manifold off.
Oh, yeah, I think this isn't super good, but as long as she still works, I guess. Okay, so
The next one will be down here.
we're not going to do that one just yet. Let's get
The pipe off.
let's get this one out of the way, because then we can see more easily how to do the other one.
Okay. So the next one here is just looks to be one
That there
nut.
and the one over there.
There's another nut
Bolt over on the back side there.
down there.
Of course, this freaking power steering line is in the way, or whatever that is. Not power steering.
Can't just move.
No, it won't move at all. It's metal there and metal here. What the dick? Whose idea was this? Like, what the hell?
Does that power steering line not move at all?
No, in between, but not where it needs to. Jesus. So that's definitely not gonna seal very well.
Yeah, it's done.
I'm guessing there's, yeah, the seal's in the block there. I don't think there's actually anything wrong with this pipe at all. It's the O-ring seal, but you got it apart this far, might as well put the new pipe on.
Well, we gotta.
There's a lot of gunge in that hole, but we'll clean that out before we put the new one back in, I guess. But I think we should probably do the other one while we've got that one off. But I cannot see at all how.
I think it goes in the thermostat housing back there.
Yeah, I don't know what holds it though.
Well,
But it's definitely this other one that's leaking.
there's a
I
bolt
think.
into there.
Yeah, but what holds it in this? And that one had a stud holding it into the
I don't
engine.
know.
I can't see anything holding this one, but I guess let's take that rusty nut out, or rusty bolt out of there first, which is probably 15 years old. Okay. Any more frickin' bolts before we can finally do something?
Well, those will be the first ones to go back in.
Yeah.
All this work to change 2 little pipes. I don't think it just comes out. Okay, it does.
Lovely.
Ooh.
That's yummy. That sludge is not supposed to be in there.
That sludge is because the previous owner used the wrong coolant in this car. The coolant's supposed to be blue, which is what we have now.
Yeah, the stuff that was in it was green. Let's see if I can get the O-ring seal out.
I can't really show you this, but I guess maybe you could. I hope that's pointed in the right spot.
Oh, god damn. Ow. Come on.
Here it is.
I think the primary issue is all the gunge and corrosion is why it leaked. Because I don't see anything physically wrong with those pipes, really. So,
That's what happens when you use the wrong coolant.
yeah, get a shot in from this side.
I'll let you aim it.
Unless you want me to touch the camera with my gungy hands. So, and without blocking the light, which I'm doing everywhere I try here, all that gunge inside there and inside there is not supposed to be there. So we're gonna have to clean all that out before we can put the new pipes in, so I have to figure out the best way to do that. And then we should be able to start putting it back together. Okay. So this is what we found inside the actual engine block fittings for the coolant pipes we took off. We thought we got all the pipe, but these chunks are actually the rest of the pipe, and there's a second O-ring in there even further. We pulled out the first O-rings and I put them with the pipes there. But then as I was starting to clean out what we thought was just gunge, it's actually the rest of the pipe. It's got some ribs on it, and there's a lip on that one to hold the O-ring seals. And actually what we should do next is get the new pipes out and confirm what we've found out here to be true. But got all that out of there now. Both of them have all the chunks out. Now we just have to figure out how to sanitize the surface before we put new O-rings and pipes in place. So this is what the pipes are supposed to look like on the end, with a couple of lips and a couple of O-ring seals. And the only part that was left when we took these out was from here back. All of this was what I chewed out of the block there. So it's all that was broken off is why we had a coolant leak. This one here, same thing. So that's looking good. It's looking like the plastic was actually degraded, so it's a good thing it's a good thing we're replacing the whole thing, and the new ones do come with the O-ring seals. So all we're going to do is finish cleaning up those two holes in the block, put these new pipes in with a little bit of lubrication on the O-rings, put the coolant pipes back on, and then we should be able to put coolant back in it, and then proceed with new intake gaskets and putting it back together. Okay. Alright, new pipe installation time. I just dipped the O-ring end in our coolant pan so that it's not going together dry. And the only fun about this is going to be putting the... What the heck is that? Putting this underneath here. And I'm trying to fit it in where it goes. All the sensors and plugs and stuff in the right place. Okay, happy with that. Alright, so we're gonna put some anti-seize on these bolts, even though the threads look really good, just from the standpoint that if anybody ever needs to get it apart in the future, it'll be a piece of cake.
Oh, you moved out of the frame. I'm trying to focus on it. Look at that.
That's 4K30 anti-seizing. Alright, so we don't have any torque specs, so we're just gonna guess. And then do this like that.
That's so much easier with that off.
Nice and new. All right.
We struggled so much putting that on last time.
Yeah. All right.
So the other pipe then.
Yeah, I think so. All right, so let's put that other bolt in first. Let's start with 5 foot-pounds on the little nut, so that's our 60 again. 55 and 5, 60. And we need another side of this here was 10.
Yeah, I think it's 10.
Where's the 10mm? Here. Okay. Maybe go to 10.
Yuck.
Go to 10 foot-pounds and that'll probably be tons for that little thing. That's as far as we're gonna go. Didn't quite get to 10, but that's fine. It's a really tiny stud, so.
And last things last.
Last thing for today, probably put the other coolant hose back on, and then we're done with the cooling system part of it. Other than we have to torque up that drain plug again. We should probably do that today before we forget about it. Oh, like a dream. So much easier with new
much
pipes.
easier, just with the intake off, I'm
That
sure.
too, yeah. So I've just got what we call a putty knife, or any kind of a metal scraper. You don't want it to be really sharp because it's really easy to score the gasket surface, especially being aluminum. So I'm just going to try and really carefully go around each of them and just try and scrape the worst of the gunge away without damaging the surface. And without putting too much of it into the engine if we can avoid. Don't really have to do this part. The only part that really matters is the part that's still clean from where the gasket was sitting before, but it's good to get rid of some of the extra if we can. Alright.
It's not bad at all.
No, that's not too bad. I'll just go over the whole thing with a
Brake clean.
shop towel and a brake clean, bit of brake clean, yeah, and it should be pretty decent. Probably just while we do that, and then put them back in while we're working with the
How much grime is on there after 23 years and 300,000 kilometers.
and even after scraping it.
It doesn't look that dirty when you just look at it, really. So this is the after look of the cleaning. I'll put up a side-by-side picture with the before and after. So it looks pretty much brand new after all this. If you look down into the valves there, they're not dirty at all, really.
Of course, there's a little bit of dirt in there that we just put in there. Jeez. So hard to do this kind of a job without getting some inside there.
Okay, so before we put all this back together, it's a good idea if you have any electrical terminals out to you that look dirty to clean them. And so on here, on this intake, we have this guy here and this guy down here, which are two ends of the same cable. One end goes to the starter and the other end goes to the positive terminal on the front right side of the car. So I have some extremely coarse sandpaper here, and all I'm going to do with it, try to just clean off all the corrosion and shale that's formed on this terminal over the years. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda here is this post here on the starter. And one of the leads down there. So because I can't really film this by myself, I'll just set up the camera as a time lapse and clean that one off. Okay, so the one thing we did here was we decided to remove this cable here from the positive terminal to the starter out of the intake manifold. This should be fine, just being outside of it, hopefully.
So do you want to put this back on while we're
Yeah,
here?
let's get the dielectric grease on that first.
Yeah, looks good. You push that in to release it.
That seems backwards to what it usually is. Usually you pull
Yeah,
it
usually you have to pull it out to release it, but it's kind of nice because you don't need any tools. You just push it with your thumb usually, assuming you can reach it. Okay.
Hitting my head on that.
Airline, yeah.
So I guess we're ready to put the big sucker back on here.
I think so. Is there anything else we're forgetting about?
I don't think so. So we ordered a new intake gasket here and some O-rings for the fuel injectors. So basically it's just going to go on the engine side, or should we put it on the manifold side?
It looks like it has to go on the manifold side. I didn't realize it had a bottom step like that.
So I'll move the camera over here and you can watch Greg remove the old one while I get this out and put it on.
Never seen one like that before. Where you gotta like pull out the 1/4 inch or 3/8 inch deep. I would probably put it together clean and dry. That way it makes a good seal. Alright, sir, new gasket. It doesn't say left or right, I'm assuming they're the same.
I think so. So I guess you just put it in.
Yep, and try and get it as straight as you can. It'll make it easier going in.
Oh, it just slides in nice.
Yeah, should. The old one was hard to get out, but the new one just basically falls in there, which is awesome. But it'll be enough that it'll hold it there while we fight to get the intake into position.
That's not bad at all. The one last thing we should do is we should clean this here because of all the corroded aluminum.
Yeah, we probably should have done that before we put the nice clean exhaust or intake gasket on, but we do a little bit of a wire brush and air job here.
Alright, so now we will reposition the camera and get place this back on.